baton.
Thank you so much. Here you go. Okay, I will call the meeting of December 8th of the Zoning Board of Adjustment to order. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial board created by the City of Ames. The applicant's purpose is to decide on applications for home occupation permits, special use permits, exceptions and variances to the zoning ordinance, applications for conditional use permits in the floodplain, requests for reasonable accommodation because of a handicap, and appeals of the decisions of the zoning enforcement officer. As a board of the city, we welcome all testimony. We make our decisions based on the facts and evidence, and as allowed under city code and presented in open meeting. Testimony before the board must be given under oath or affirmation. If the proceedings become lengthy, we may ask that testimony be focused on new facts or evidence not already presented. We ask that you come to the microphone if you wish to speak so that your testimony will be audible and may be recorded. Before speaking, please complete an orange information card and hand it to our recording secretary, Renee. Orange information cards are outside on the table, it looks like today. Yeah. When you are testifying, please address your remarks to the board. We ask that the proceedings be orderly. The Zoning Board of Adjustment is an independent volunteer board of citizens. We are not part of the city administration. We are served in our efforts by got Jane Chang tonight, Assistant City Attorney, Renee Hall, Recording Secretary, and Julie Gould, Planner. Is Eloise coming too? Oh, hi. Sorry, I have my glasses on. The order for Eloise Salstrom's here tonight too, Planner. The order of proceedings for each application will be as follows. First, an oral statement summarizing the issues and procedural steps will be presented by the staff. Second, testimony and evidence will be presented by the applicant. Third, testimony may be heard from any members of the audience who wish to speak in support of or opposition to the appeal. And next, the board will give the applicant and then city staff an opportunity to present concluding summaries and arguments. And finally, the board will discuss the issues and evidence and come to a decision. Okay, the first item on the agenda this evening is approval of the minutes of October 13th, 2021. Additions, changes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Next item is extension of a non-conforming residential use for 520 East Lincoln Way.
Good evening. This is, I think, the first of its kind to come before the boards, and it's kind of a unique request and situation. The zoning code under our non-conforming section in chapter 29, section 29-307, there is a paragraph that was a section G, which was included in the staff report that addresses abandonment of non-conforming uses. A non-conforming use in that section of the code is defined as abandoned when it's not been used as such for a period of 12 months or longer, and we've gone through those outlined steps of the certified mail process of communicating with the property owner. So that's kind of the background of why we're here. The property tonight that we're going to discuss is 520 East Lincoln Way. This is Cherry Street. To kind of give you a little context of how far east that is on Lincoln Way, this is all the property that's to the east of Target. So Target would be kind of to the southwest a little bit in this area. So it's not too far down East Lincoln Way from Duff. So this started back in July of 2021. The property owner had made contact with the inspections department in order to go through the rental registration process. And at that time, we discovered that it was not a registered rental previously, and that the property was zoned HOC, and residential is not an allowed use in a commercial district in Ames. So there are some other homes down in this area as well. So we had to go through the process. We reached out to the applicant, and to make contact with them if they've even been using it residentially. That section of the code also describes a process that allows the zoning board to make that determination, but staff was comfortable through our conversations and emails that it hadn't been abandoned, that we couldn't really determine it because they had used it as a rental unregistered in the time that they've owned it. And the property owners themselves have used it residentially throughout the last year off and on as well. So there hadn't been a solid 12 months where it hadn't been used residentially. The last time it was registered as a rental that we have on file was 2016, which was prior to their ownership. This house was built as a single family residence back in the 1930s, and it was converted. We found a building permit in 1949 to make it a 2-unit residence, which it is today. I believe it's 2-bedroom on the main floor and 1-bedroom upstairs. So that's really where we're at. They're in the process of, they had done some work without permits. They're working through that with the inspections department to not only remedy those permit issues, but get the permits and going through the work that they need to do to meet the rental code. And that one of those is parking. And they're just having a hard time getting it all done within the 90 days that the code allows to complete that work. So they're before you tonight asking for an extension into May of 2022. And staff is in support of this request. We believe we're in really good contact with the property owner. Inspections is, we feel like they're making a good faith effort of trying to do what they need to do to work through all the necessary requirements. So staff is in support of that extension until May. So the recommendation is to approve their request. If you would not approve the request and they don't finish the work within the next week or so, then they cannot continue the residential use, and it can only be used commercially because they did not meet the 90-day requirement. If we get to May and they're not done, we can come back before and ask for another extension, and you would have the opportunity, if the applicant wants, and we could have the same conversation and give you an update if that's the situation as well. That's really all there is to it. So I can answer any questions that you have. This doesn't happen very often. So actually, I think this is the first property we've sent a certified letter to questioning abandonment of a use.
Questions for staff?
Is it required for a 6-month extension, or is that just what was deemed?
That's what it's not stated that that's what anywhere that that's what you have to ask for. That's what you can ask for. We thought that was a reasonable request given that concrete work does need to be done because they have to provide parking and the winter's coming up. And they have been in contact with a concrete contractor. It's just, the timing of getting in contact, getting the work done. Everything seems to have a shortage of supply. And so we just thought it was a reasonable amount of time. And they can work on other permit issues, to the interior of the building that are outstanding during that time as well.
Is it possible to do a 3-month extension and exclude, and then for the interior work, and then 6 months then for the concrete work? Can we split it?
Well,
I mean, my concern is that I read the history on this since 2014. I'm sympathetic in part, but not completely, because this has been used as a rental and it had not had the letter of compliance. And we have an entity here that's represented, P&B Group, which causes me to think they have other rentals, so they should have been aware of the requirements, and this should have been, taken care of long ago. So while I'm inclined to give them more time, I'm not inclined to give them extra amount of time, except for the concrete work, because you can't really pour it in.
The only thing that I think might be difficult if you did the 2 different timelines for interior versus exterior is the rental registration process, right? It's one long checklist, and they don't, it has to all be completed to get it for it to be officially issued.
That's why I asked. Okay.
There isn't a differentiation in the code with, this is an allowance for legal non-conforming uses. It sounds like
It's still residential. Is that what you're kind of saying? Regardless of whether they rent it out, it's still residential.
It wasn't in compliance. It wasn't legal.
Well, yeah, and so we looked back in the history of the zoning code of all the iterations of the map, and this has been commercial since the 50s. So this has been essentially what it is since it was built almost.
Okay.
And this Cherry Street has several residences on it. Some are rental, some are owner occupied. So I mean,
I just wanted to make sure that it coming out of compliance when it had been in compliance with rentals division.
Well, I think what happened is it was registered with a previous owner in our paper records. So in the records I could not find an active one with this property owner.
Okay. And that doesn't make it ineligible.
No, because it's still residential and it was still used resident. So it's not rental versus non-rental, it's residential versus non-residential.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not questioning the characteristic of it. I'm
Yeah, just the timing.
somewhat saying things so that people are aware that they need to be getting this done.
Other questions for staff? Okay, it's time for the applicant to speak to their request. Name and address, please.
Evan Brown and 520 East Lincoln Way.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes,
Thanks.
I do.
You can proceed.
All right. So going kind of off. Yeah, we originally bought this group. We made this LLC. Our intentions with this property initially were one of my business partners, his wife is a chiropractor. So she's going to do a chiropractic practice out of here. And she was also pregnant at the time that we purchased it. Well, when she had the kid, had her first kid, come that next spring when we were going to start communication with the city about, all right, what do we got to do to do that? She decided that she didn't want to do that anymore. And she just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so since then, I moved in there for a period of time. And after that, when I end up moving out, we've had belongings in there. It really hasn't been rented out. There has been friends and family that have stayed there for short durations. And also my two business partners end up moving a few years ago to Virginia. So when they come back, they've used it as their place to stay. And it's kind of been a storage area, and our intentions were always to get it compliant, to get it rental compliant at some point, but I didn't reach out until this past spring, and that's when I got a hold of Julie, and that's kind of where we're at. And I'm having issues. Well, not having issues, but I did contact quite a bit of concrete contractors, and everyone was 4 months, 6 months out to even look at it. But I did get Stenberg Concrete Construction to come over and quote it, but they cannot get to it, or they want to wait till spring to do the work. But
Questions for the applicant? Thanks. Okay, now it's time for any other questions of staff or discussion. There are none. For a motion.
I will move to approve alternative 1.
A second.
Motion by Marr, second by Schneider. Discussion on the motion. Okay, roll call vote, please. Aye.
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 Motion is approved. Anyone desiring to appeal this decision to court of record may do so within 30 days after the filing of this decision. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have a special use permit to allow the use of a dry cleaning and laundry facility in the highway-oriented commercial zone for the property at 306 East Lincoln Way.
Good evening. Some of you may recognize this project. It actually came before you several years back, but since that time, all approvals have expired, so they're going through the process again. There's actually two items tonight related to the same property that's located at 306 East Lincoln Way.
Hold on. I'm sorry, Eloise. I messed up. This is also item 3,
Oh,
right?
this is the exception to the parking lot.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Sure. So this is the exception to the parking lot landscape area dimension requirements. The property is located at the corner of High Avenue and East Lincoln Way. There's an alley access at the rear of the property. Rick Casper Bauer of Mayfair Cleaners is proposing to relocate their current operations and build a new dry cleaning and laundry facility at 306 East Lincoln Way. Previously, an exception was approved in September 2018. Both the site plan and special use permit have expired. The property is zoned HOC, highway-oriented commercial, and is currently vacant. The request is identical to what was previously approved, as the applicable regulations have remained the same. Only the address has been updated. The front lot line setback is 20 feet and the side yard setback from the alley is 5 feet. They've provided the required parking. Access to the site is proposed from High Avenue with a connection to the adjacent alley on the east side. The applicant wishes to have a pickup drop-off area to accommodate customers, and this is an enlargement of it. Turn it that way. Lighting. Correct. Okay, north goes to the left. At the top is the alley. So our code requires that any pavement be 3 feet from the property line. So in order to accommodate the pickup and drop-off area, you can see there's a dashed line there. That's the pickup and drop-off area. And so in order to accommodate it, they're requesting a 14-foot aisle in this area so that you can get past the drop-off. In order to extend it to 14 feet, it basically means that that setback from the property line is reduced to 0 instead of 3 feet. The applicant, other than the exception request, the applicant is in compliance with the requirements of all of the landscaping and screening portions of 29403. The exception for a pavement setback does not impact any of the required landscaping. So the landscaping includes trees, shrubs, grasses, and perennials. The landscaping code does not require any perimeter buffer yard in this area, and the required landscaping and planting requirements have been met. The 2,400 square foot building is located, you can see it's located very tight to the north and east setback lines. The elimination of the pavement setback has little impact upon the adjacent property, as the area of impact is the rear property line of that parcel, and both parcels are zoned HOC, and the elimination of the setback does not reduce any of the required landscaping and would improve vehicular circulation. So staff recommends that staff concludes that the proposed dry cleaning and laundry facility at 306 East Lincoln Way is consistent with the exception standards required for granting an exception to the parking lot landscape area dimension requirement, and therefore based upon the findings and facts in the report, and as mentioned tonight, it's a recommendation of the Department of Planning and Housing that the Zoning Board of Adjustment act in accordance with Alternative 1, which states the Zoning Board of Adjustment can approve this request for an exception to the parking lot landscape area dimension requirement for the property located at 306 East Lincoln Way by adopting the findings and conclusions noted in the staff report.
Thanks.
Sure.
Questions?
Not for staff.
Okay. It's time for the applicant to speak to their requests then. Or their representative?
If you have anything to add.
I really don't have anything to add, so
Okay.
this is pretty,
Does
we've
anyone-
already previously.
I have a question though.
Okay, we've got questions, so come on up.
I'm John Gady. I'm with Fox Engineering Associates. I'm tonight representing the owner.
Okay, what's your address?
The address for Fox Engineering, 414 South 17th Street, Suite 107, Ames, Iowa.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth?
I do swear to tell the truth.
Thanks.
My question is, so the area we're talking about, is that designed for two-way traffic?
No,
Just it's going to be one way out.
correct.
Okay. So it still needs to be that wide?
It does not.
Okay.
Eloise, what is the minimum width, the Ames code?
Well, if you look at the fact that there would be a car stopped in this area, basically, then the width to get around that car,
Okay.
Makes it challenging.
it does need to be 14 feet.
So it's still two lanes. It's just one.
It's
one
two
way.
lanes, but one lane is going around the parked or temporary paused car.
Other questions?
I have design questions, but it doesn't matter. So.
It's a very challenging site to make all this.
Yeah, I
happen.
got that from the shape because I was looking at this one. I go, that doesn't work that way. And then I saw okay, that's north. All right. No, I don't. I just have design questions and that doesn't matter. So I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
Thanks. Other questions for staff, for the applicant? Okay, discussion.
Yeah, I had another one, but it doesn't matter.
So we did this
There-
special exception before too?
Yes.
I do not remember.
Oh, it was all the same meeting.
Okay.
Item.
Move alternative 1.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Bowers, second by Schneider. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Any person desiring to appeal this decision to a court of record may do so within 30 days after the filing of this decision. Okay, and now it is time for item 4.
Item 4. I should have been paying more attention to your numbering. Item 4 is a special use permit request to allow the use of a dry cleaning and laundry facility in the highway-oriented HOC zoning district for the property located at 306 East Lincoln Way. So I'm just going to go over a few highlights. As mentioned, this previously came before you. It came before you as a special use permit, and it was approved September 2018. But it has since expired, along with the site plan, the special use permit and the site plan. The request is identical to what was previously approved, as the applicable regulations have remained the same, only the address has been updated. So why is this coming before you? In table 29.804(2) of the zoning ordinance, the HOC zone requires that a dry cleaning and laundry facility be subject to the approval of a special use permit by the ZBA. The requirement is intended to guide dry cleaning and laundry facilities toward compatibility with their surroundings. There are 3 additional standards that are included beyond a regular special use permit requirement. And these are related to dry cleaning and laundry facilities. And they address chemical processes, adjacent uses, and a general parking standard. So if you turn to page 4 of your staff report, under the dry cleaning and commercial laundry facility standards, one of the standards is the related to the use of what is referred to as PERC. PERC is on the EPA's list of carcinogenic products. That's why we want to know if the applicant is going to be using that, because it can be impactful to other surrounding uses. And the applicant states that the use of PERC is not used in Mayfair's cleaning process. The development includes 1 single-use 2,400 square foot building, and no residential, childcare, or school use will be co-located in the same building. Parking is provided at the required retail rate, and as required, there's 8 parking spaces plus 1 delivery van space. Additionally, the applicant has complied with the general standards, which also include not being hazardous or disturbing to existing or future uses in the same general vicinity. And the applicant states that the dry cleaning process is environmentally safe. All cleaning material is recovered and reused. The use of PERC is not used in the cleaning process. The only dry cleaning solvent utilized is Solvon K4, manufactured by Chrysler Corporation. The equipment for this solvent is manufactured by Union DC Machine. It is a totally sealed machine that has no vents or discharge. The solvent is reused constantly and is filtered and distilled to keep it clean. There's no exhaust to the atmosphere. This machine is currently in operation at their current facility at 508 Lincoln Way. And they state that they were the first in the state of Iowa to use this state-of-the-art machine and environmentally safe solvent. The cleaning is not hazardous or disturbing to existing or future uses in the vicinity. There's no noise, smoke, fumes, glares, or odors from the process. And traffic levels can be accommodated by the existing street infrastructure. Dry cleaning and laundry facilities are generally an industrial use, but are allowed within the HOC zone by special use permit. The proposed dry cleaning and laundry facility and site layout is consistent with the intent and purpose of the HOC zone. The proposed use fits the criteria of what could be expected in HOC zoning district. There will be no loss of commercial land. The new use at the proposed location will include dry cleaning and laundry facility with retail operation. And this is an appropriate use for this location and within HOC. Mayfair is currently the only dry cleaning processing facility in Ames. Other businesses ship items to out-of-town facilities for processing, which maybe is good if they're using PERC. So staff concludes that the proposed dry cleaning and laundry facility at 306 East Lincoln Way is consistent with the dry cleaning and commercial laundry facility standards and the general and specific commercial standards required for granting a special use permit. The general area is developed with a mix of commercial and residential uses, and the proposed use can operate in a manner that's compatible with the surrounding uses. Site improvements, including landscaping, will further make the use more attractive for its adjacent neighbors and those viewing the site from East Lincoln Way. Therefore, based upon the findings of fact and conclusions, it is recommended from the Department of Planning and Housing that the Zoning Board of Adjustment act in accordance with Alternative 1, which states, the Zoning Board of Adjustment can approve this request for a special use permit at 306 East Lincoln Way to allow the use of a 2,400 square foot dry cleaning and laundry facility in the highway-oriented zone, commercial zone, by adopting the findings and conclusions noted in the report and with the following conditions. Use of the building and the site are for a dry cleaning and laundry facility that does not use PERC. Changes or expansion of the use, facility, or layout of the site will require an amendment to the special use permit. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Thanks. Are there questions on this one?
What is the zoning of their current location?
What is their current location?
No, what's the zoning of their current?
HOC,
Okay.
but they were there before it was required to have a special use permit.
Would this location not be even better than where they're currently located because of the surrounding businesses?
This will be better because it'll be much more accessible for circulation, for one thing. And also it won't be a shared building with other facilities.
Right, they're not right next door to a restaurant.
Right.
I mean,
Although the restaurant isn't a consideration of the.
no, I understand, but I'm just looking
But-
at overall
Yeah.
community awareness of it, conformity. It's like this conforms better to this area of the HOC than the other area of the HOC, even though
Yeah.
technically the same zoning.
I agree.
The surrounding businesses are,
And right now they don't really have a way to do drop off. You have to
Right.
go inside.
right, okay. Just stating the obvious.
And they have plans to start construction soon?
I believe so. They're working with, that doesn't
I can
matter who
ask
they're
the
working with,
applicant,
but yes, they are trying to move forward at this time.
Okay. Great. Are there questions for the applicant, or do you have anything to add to this one? Okay. There's no members of the public. So, further discussion? Okay.
I'll motion.
Second.
I didn't even make my motion. Alternative 2. Just kidding.
You stop talking.
I move we accept alternative 1 and approve the.
You still
And I will second.
Right. Motion by Schneider, second by Amar. Roll call vote. Schneider.
Aye.
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 Any person desiring to appeal this decision to a court of record may do so within 30 days after the filing of this decision. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those same sign. We're adjourned.
Thank you all.
Sorry, I got excited.
Yeah. My question was, why wasn't 4 before 3? Because we approved the variance